That brings back. I wanted to roll the clock back a little bit because you said something really important when it comes to local media, which is so. I just want to clarify the time frame. You go over to Germany for the Berlin Wall, basically end of communism. We're seeing this kind of full blast. By 95, you said that everybody was gone. Essentially, it was everybody had picked up stakes and gone back to the States, and really only the Times and maybe a couple others are still lingering and with actual reporters on the ground, right?
Yes. So when I went to Berlin in 1990, it
Yeah.
was not necessarily commonly agreed upon that foreign international news was a lost leader. Um, a lot of those reporters that were in Berlin would go to Iraq, right? We got there in 90, the invasion happens. A lot of those reporters left, but the bureau stayed open. But over the course of the next 5 years, the bureau started to close and they weren't going to reopen. And we were close friends with the New York Times reporter at the time, John Talleyrand, and Paula Budarini, his wife. They had been reporters during the fall of communism. They'd been to Poland. They were
Yeah.
in a bureau in Poland. So they stayed. But most of the other people and the Post stayed. But most of the other bureaus closed up and left. U.S. News and World Report, I did have a successor who stayed there after me, but within a few years, they were gone too. So in the 90s, that was one of the first moments where you knew that the power of the metro paper with overseas bureaus all over the world really was waning. They could no longer afford to do that themselves, so they would outsource it to wires or other syndicated
Yeah.
versions of their stuff. So yeah, that was a moment that was clear. It was a withdrawal of a vast media empire around the world that was never replaced. So, so then there are the local. You asked about local paper, so I started
Yeah.
local paper, and I have a deep. That's my J school, right?